Hey you guys, it's Life of Nikki Lee podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well and living your fullest every day. So I just want to come on here for a few minutes, you all, check on you all, see how you're doing. Let's just have a few moments to chat, right? Because there's so much going on. I wanted to come on yesterday and talk about what happened with the Charlie Kirk situation at the Utah College campus event where he was unfortunately assassinated. But I told myself, I said, you know what, just take a couple of days, see how this unfolds, because before I do a podcast on something, I like to, gather a little bit more information so that when I do talk about it, I can, discuss it in its entirety. So that's what I did. Now, unfortunately, Charlie Kirk, he has passed. There have been so many mixed emotions online. Everyone saw it. You had those MAGA nuts. They were online talking about a civil war. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, people, just wait a minute. This man had not even been gone for 2 hours and people were hopping online. Oh, it's time for war. This, and that. They did it. And come to find out, this young 22-year-old Mormon white male conservative from Utah took this man's life. And the irony of it is, before he passed, Charlie Kirk was talking about gang violence. He was talking about, how dangerous it is and all this. And this is another thing that I just didn't appreciate was this man was putting out such a hateful narrative about Black people being the most violent, doing all these things, killing each other. And then right in his last moments, he's taken out by one of his own. And this is why I say, people, you have to be careful about the narratives that you go out there and the platforms that you stand on. I don't agree with any of his ideologies. I don't believe he should have been killed for it. But looking back at some of his videos, I just remember thinking to myself, damn, why? Why do you feel like you had to put that out there? And the crazy thing about this is, you guys, I've come across two reactions, both from Black women, one being Candace Owens, of course, that described Charlie Kirk affectionately as her brother. And then there was another young lady who she discussed how she knew Charlie Kirk when she was coming into modeling, as a plus size model. And she was describing how he gave her her first big time job. And Candace, she expressed the same thing. She talked about how he gave her a chance when no one else did. And I just remember looking at the video, and she shared all these moments. And then she said something that caught my attention. You'll have to, see it for yourself, because I'm not playing any clips from her show, because I don't want to get struck. I don't want my channel getting struck. But she mentioned groups. Now, when I'm saying groups, I'm talking about groups within the white male conservative platforms. You had Charlie Kirk, who was Turning Point USA, and then you had Nick Fuentes on whatever platform it was that he had. And she was pretty much saying how, when other people did not welcome her, Charlie Kirk stood by her. When they would do these speaking arrangements, they didn't want Candace Owens there, and Charlie would, cancel those arrangements, because he decided to stick with Candace because they were working together at that time. And she also mentioned, he was not as popular within certain groups of those people. And I guess in so many words, she was saying that he wasn't right wing enough for some people. Now, this is my opinion now, all allegedly, and I have to say that, okay? But you when you get time, you have to watch that for yourself, and you'll see what I'm saying, because that's all leading up to the point of what I'm about to say next. But first things first, let's start with 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, the guy who took Charlie Kirk's life. As you can see right here, um, he's been around weapons since he was a little kid. He has come from the background of a Christian, no, I'm sorry, not Christian, but Mormon family. Very pro-Trump, very Republican, very conservative. Now, when you look at his upbringing, his background, like his father is the leader of a church, for goodness sake. I mean, look at this young man. Doesn't look like he would hurt a fly. He looks very innocent. But this is the man who sniped Charlie in the jugular. Natural born killer. The person who took Charlie Kirk's life was not black, not trans, not Muslim, none of the LGBTQIA. It was this man right here, a man from Utah, a white conservative Mormon man from Utah. Took this man away from his wife and kids. So as you can see right here, we have a picture of Robinson with his black and white jumpsuit on. And the caption says, "Was Kirk the victim of a groyper?" Now, for those of you all who are not familiar with what that is, a groyper is a very extreme right-wing figure. They believe in getting their point across by all means necessary, even if that means having to take out one of their own, which is clearly what he did. Now, this right here, this picture that you see, this is who their little mascot is, the frog. Now, who is the leader of groypers? I'm glad you asked that. That would be Mr. Nicholas Fuentes. So Nick Fuentes, he's a white supremacist. He's the leader of the Groypers movement, okay? And his racism, his misogyny, all his bullshit, he has been on social media for a while before anything took flight. And the only reason he was able to get back on social media after all his platforms were banned was because of Elon Musk. When Elon Musk, put Twitter back up and called it X, that's when he let him back on. But yeah, this is pretty much your modern day Klan, you guys. Their beliefs are all about white supremacy. They're anti-Semitic, they're anti-immigration. They don't want any LGBTQIA rights. They're very anti-feminist. Like, these are very extreme right-wing people. Nick Fuentes, he's been all about this movement for a while now. And him and Charlie Kirk, they used to do speaking arrangements together. And I believe that he fell out with Charlie Kirk because he wanted more publicity and more recognition. And perhaps for whatever reason, he felt like he wasn't getting that. I mean, it got to the point where he was not willing to share the stage with certain people because he wanted to be the only one that was acknowledged. All right, so you remember when I mentioned earlier about what Candace Owens said about the group? This is what she was talking about. She was talking about Charlie Kirk and how he stood with Christian nationalists versus Nick Fuentes and him being with the Groypers, right? And she also said something else that really just kind of made my antennas go up. Like, she was saying before Charlie's death, she felt like he was having a spiritual awakening. Now, true enough, Charlie Kirk said some very controversial things, some outright harmful and disrespectful things, in my opinion. But one thing I'm sure we can all agree on is that when he spoke about releasing of the Epstein files, a lot of people were in agreement with that. But that brought some trouble to Charlie. And who did it come from? It came from the right wingers. Now, I'm going to show you all a tweet that Laura Loomer, she posted, which she has taken down since his death. Let me show you all what she said. All right, so here's the tweet that Laura Loomer, she pretty much deleted. But hey, we're in the era of screenshots and receipts, so there you go, people. So she's basically calling Charlie a hypocrite in this post. She's saying that one day, he's a supporter of MAGA. Next day, he's stabbing Trump in the back. Just pretty much calling him a hypocrite, not being far right-wing enough, which is why a lot of people are starting to speculate that this is why Charlie was targeted. They felt like he was probably straddling the fence on a couple of things, and they didn't feel that he was going as far as they wanted him to go, which is very sad and unfortunate, But because ultimately we all know this is what led to his demise. Now, Nick Fuentes, Lord, this picture just creeps me out. He just looks so damn crazy on there. Those damn eyebrows. Anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. So Nick Fuentes gets on his platform and he pretty much doesn't want any ownership. After all the shit talking these people have done online, talking about they're going to start a civil war. Oh, we know who did this to him. But when you find out it's one of your own, you don't want any association with them. So, of course, he doesn't want to have anything to do with it, doesn't want to take accountability for the fact that he is a leader of an extreme right-wing group that possibly influenced this young man to take Charlie Kirk's life. He's pretty much saying now that he will disown any supporters who resort to violence. But they had none of this energy when Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband were killed. But you guys, the rabbit hole goes deep, okay? Which is why I am going to break this into 2 parts because we have much more to discuss. I will come back tomorrow night with part 2 of what happened to Charlie Kirk. The rabbit hole goes deep. Make sure you tune in and join me then. You guys, I hope you are staying well out there. And I also want you to know that during these times, yes, there is a lot going on, but I want you all to really understand that you will see a lot of things in the media that you find very disheartening and just downright ridiculous and appalling and disgusting. But please, people, I implore you, please continue to live your life, be happy, spread joy and love wherever you can, because we need it in these times. You don't know what another person is going through. Or, sometimes a smile can make all the difference. Just being nice to someone can make all the difference. Don't let all this raggedy energy shit that you see right now, don't let it steal your joy, okay? Keep fighting the good fight, people. Stay joyous, stay happy, keep the faith, spread love when you can. Get out there, touch some grass, be happy, take trips, do all the things that you can. Enjoy life because it is meant to be enjoyed. Do not let these suckers steal your happiness, okay? All right. I love you guys so much. I'll be back with part 2 tomorrow night. You guys stay tuned. This is Nikki Lee signing out, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.